Hello friends, it's Michelle here from St. George's on a beautiful sunny day in the church. Sorry, haven't been around for a while, haven't done any videos on the history of St. George's. But today I did some research. I'm still doing my research, and I got me a selfie stick, so it's a little easier to tape, and hopefully it won't be as shaky as it's been in the past. I'm dressed in our costume today. You kind of can't see it completely, but got my hat on and my Victorian black, because at the time we kind of go for a time period around 1863, which was when Queen Victoria, of course, was in power. And we simply do that because the church's architecture reflects that period. That's when the last major renovations happened to the church that made it look the way it does with its Gothic revival. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit today about the tower and the spire and the cupola, which was on the church. So right now I'm going out into the graveyard, and this is one of the oldest graveyards in North America, actually, and I'll just take a little peek at it. As you can see, our graveyard is in great shape right now. We have a friend of St. George's, Kenneth, and Kenneth comes and he fixes the graveyard all up. We had some trees on the ground over there, and we had some things going on. Most of the stones, you'll notice, have fallen on the ground, like this one. And that's just simply because over time the bases became weak and they fell back. So this one here, it's very difficult to read what's on the stones, simply because of pollution, and over the years it actually ruined the stones. Now here's one right here, and it was erected to the memory of Richard Stout, Esquire, many years of senior member of His Majesty's Council for this island, who departed life October 26, 1820, aged 64 years. So we know he was probably one of the key members in finding Cape Breton because of his service to St. George's Church. We'll talk about that another day. So right now you're looking at St. George's Church, and I'm going to go back. We're looking at what we call the south wall. Now, the reason I chose the south wall is because right up there, if you look at the top of the church, the middle of the roof, is where the very first tower and cupola was built. And that would have been in 1821. So that tells us that happened 1 year after we were no longer a colony of our own, and we had been expropriated by the colony of Nova Scotia. So 150 pounds was granted from the Coal Mines Reserve, and it was put into this tower and cupola. So I don't quite know what it looks like. You see them on other churches, but it was put right there in the middle. And the problem with it was so heavy, and I guess it was lopsided a bit. It caused this south wall of the church to buckle. Now, there's no evidence of that today, because in the 1850s, of course, they rebuilt the church from its foundations with the original stone. So that stayed in place from 1821 until 1839. So I'm assuming at that time they tore it down. It was probably causing so much damage to this south wall. So now I'm going around to the front of the church, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the second tower. Now the second tower, I think they took the tower and cupola down from the church with when the second tower went into being, and it would have just been plain in the front of the church up until that point. There wouldn't have been any tower in the front, just windows like this, probably a little different from this one. This is Gothic revival, and it's from the 1850s that it was shaped. So the second tower was built for another 150 pounds, so it didn't seem like it cost more. and those monies came from the mines. It was the first church tower at the front of the church. So we're in the front of the church now. Up to then, it was just a plain front. The walls would have looked like these walls here do. And of course, this is all Louisbourg stone that was brought in from the fortress to build the church in 1785 to 1791. The wooden tower was 96 feet tall, and it didn't have a spire. So it was just a straight tower made of wood. And it was blown down in the Great August Gale of 1873. So the interesting thing about that story is it blew the tower right off the church, but also the bell that was in the tower was blown out, and it was found 2 miles away. Now everyone thinks, wow, that's quite, and it was apparently somewhere near where Wentworth Park is today in Sydney. But I don't think it flew all the way to Wentworth Park. The more I think about it, I think it rolled. A bell like that would roll. So that was the story of that tower, and it was gone by 1873, and had a little interesting story about the bell and how the bell had a little adventure. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the third tower. And the third tower is the tower we have today. As you can see, it's quite high. I think it's probably 96 feet high like the other one was. There's a little pigeon up there. But the cool thing about this tower is they put a spire on it, so it reaches way up there into the heavens. It's quite difficult to get a picture of St. George's. You have to go way across the street to include the spire in it. And right here right below the spire is where the bell is. And I'm actually going to show you a video as part of this that I had recorded I got my husband to climb up there, and he took some video of the bell tower. So this is how it stands. So it was built in 1888, and it again is built with Louisbourg stone. It has the regular stone that came from Nova Scotia, you can see in the walls, but on the corner pieces, that's all that special stone that would have come from Cannes, France, in the belly of ships as ballast. One of the interesting things about it is of course, that it has a bell in the tower. Now we know the bell came here sometime after 1863, probably right in 1888, and the bell was from the Crimean War. Now there's two stories. There's a story that they took the guns, and the other story is that it was a cannon. So they took the guns or the cannon, whichever it may be. Hopefully we can get to the end of that mystery when quarantine is over and we can get back to where we can research. And they melted them down and they made them into a bell. And the bell sits up there. It has sat there since 1944. So it was put up there probably in the 1880s, 1890s. And then in 1939, it was taken down. And it was put on a boat to England because I think there was a crack in it. And they had to be repaired by the bell makers in England. Well, when it was there, war broke out. And with war breaking out, they could no longer let any metal be sent out of the country. So the bell was put on a shelf in the bell maker's shop. And when the war came, it was kept there just in case there was some kind of reason to turn it into bullets. So it was kept just in case of that. Thankfully, it survived, and it didn't get melted down into bullets, but it went through the whole war sitting in a shop in England. So after the war was over, 1946, so here's the ladder on the inside, going up to the inside the tower.
be safe.
The bell came back to us, and it was put up in the spire, and it's been there ever since. Not in the spire, in the tower, pardon me. Interesting, we had the bell checked out a few weeks ago. It's in good shape. We had to get some specialists, some construction guys to go up there because we were worried, you know, it might have some rotten wood or something. And we didn't use it for a long time because we were nervous that it might come through the roof or something like that. But they checked it out and it's in good shape. We had it ringing for Easter Sunday morning this year. Our bell ringer is Scott McCory, and Scott has a long family history in St. George's, so we were very pleased to have Scott to be able to do that. His father was the bell ringer before. Anyway, we rang it that morning, and then it was rung again in April in memory of those who were killed in the massacre we had in Nova Scotia this year. So there was 22 chimes, then a 2-minute wait, and a 23rd chime for the unborn child who died in the massacre. So it's still relevant today. It still plays a role in our community and our society. So that's a little bit about the bell. Hi, so that's the story of the bell tower. To show you a little bit of the stained glass that's in the tower. This is the stained glass just coming right out of the church, and it's a dove of peace. And it's in memory of Albert Sandler, and it was put in 1985. And then of course we have our picture of St. George slaying the mighty dragon, and of course this, being one of the most important pieces of stained glass in the church, is in memory of Randy Crossett, and it was donated to the church by his family members who are still active at St. George's. They come whenever we're open, and this would have been put up in 1985. So thank you for watching. I hope I taught you a little bit about our bell tower today, and we're really missing our cruise ship passengers, but that's the way it goes. And if you want to donate, we really would appreciate any donations. We don't have the donations coming from the ships that we normally have. So I'll put the information underneath this video that you can donate to. And either way, I hope you enjoy and have a wonderful day from St. George's. Bye-bye.